Alright guys, I'm here with Rockstar. Hello!
Good afternoon.
How are you? How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Glad to be here.
Yeah?
Should be a good weekend.
Cool.
Rock and roll.
Definitely. So who are you and what do you do in the band?
Right. I'm Mark, I play bass. I'm Tony and I sing.
I'm Andy and I play tambourine. Percussion.
Percussion.
And triangles.
You should have said triangles, it's more cool.
And glockenspiels.
Rock and roll, man.
That's cool.
Not really, I just hit the drums. Daz guitar.
Mark guitar.
Cool. When did the band form? Give me the history of it.
Okay, myself and Darren have known each other for more years than we can care to mention, but we got the idea about 3 years ago that there was nobody out there promoting the big hair movement that we enjoyed and loved for all those years, so we decided we were going to create that band that was missing in the market, live music market, and that's where Rockstar came from. We dedicate what we do to the 80s hair bands such as Rat, Doc and all the sort of big hair names, so that's what we do.
Why did you decide to do a cover band?
Well, the cover,
like you said want to pay tribute to.
well, the cover band is just something that we want to do for enjoyment. I mean, we are this year looking at writing some original material, but we always felt that it was going to have to be done in a way where we could play to an audience. So we decided to create the cover band, and then later on in the journey put the original band together. Because, as you know, with live bands, they play to 20 people in a pub. Yeah. At least with Rockstar, we've got an audience because they love the 80s hair music, and that's what we're planning to do at the end of this year.
Okay.
We always personally felt that it was probably more credible for us to tribute an era, the 80s era, perhaps very early 90s era, rather than a band in particular. Like there's a lot of guys out there doing Jovi tributes, Guns N' Roses and Whitesnake, and we'd rather tribute the era where everybody was having their hair stuck up and smelled to Jack Daniels and Coke, which we enjoyed at the time. And you still do. And still do, yeah.
Is there any particular band that you really like to cover? Or is it just
all of them, really? All of them, yeah. I think we've all got our own favourites in the set. I mean, we recently put in a killer from Wasp, which was Wild Child, which we all get a big kick out of. But I like doing, I like doing the Jeff Tate stuff. I like doing the Queensryche. It's quite challenging as a vocalist, but I think if you speak to all the members of the band, they've all got their own favourites, really. Metallica.
Yes, Maiden. But I'm normally knackered by the time we play that. Dokken and Rat has to be.
Mine's Dokken as well. Yeah.
Cool. You've toured and recorded with Mr. Graham Bonnet.
That's correct.
Can you tell me about that experience?
Yeah.
It was about 2.5 years ago now. We got a call off one of our friends who run a rock venue in Cannock. And basically they were asking whether or not we would be prepared to support Graham Bonnet's band on a particular night. So there was phone calls exchanged and we said yeah, we would like to. Then I went away, I was on holiday and I was like stretched out by the pool, and I got a call off Tony basically saying, well, Daz, it's changed a bit, we're not actually supporting it, we are the bands. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, you're going to be Richie Blackmore stroke Michael Schenker for the night. I went, oh my god. So off we went, and we had to learn 25 songs. We did that with a friend who's got a studio in Burnwood. Learned 20 must be 25 songs easily. Our biggest problem was we didn't have a keyboard player, so all the keyboard parts had to be done, they had to be sequenced, so there was many a long hour burnt programming keyboard parts.
All the backing vocals were me. Yeah. Because obviously on stage Graham would only have the guys. We were doing the support set as well. So Rockstar go on, do their sort of 45 minutes, come off, and then all the backing vocals you heard on Since You've Been Gone and all the sort of big hits, they were me doing all these backing vocals on a sequencer as well. So we had to cheat a little bit, but at the end of the day it was one of those things, you know. It's we knew it was going to be very quick and very fast, the 15 dates, wasn't it, altogether? 15 days, yeah. And we had to come up with something that was going to be, we wanted to represent Graham the best way we could, so we created this huge backing vocal sound, big keyboard sound, and we did sort of hope that the public would forgive us for doing this, but they did, and they really enjoyed it. So, you know, we were asked to do it again this year, but we were a bit busy, and obviously Taz Taylor stood in because that's Graham's band in America. So, but I heard it all went very well. You were there, weren't you?
Yes, I interviewed him in Blackpool.
It was great, really good. I mean, Graham's a great guy, and we all love his music, so it was a great honour to do it. Yeah.
I think I must have been like the youngest person in the venue, to be honest with you. It was really weird.
Graham's got to be about what's he now? 58.
60.
Yeah.
Lemmy's doing good though, isn't he?
Well, yeah.
yeah.
It's like, I mean, that's what happens when you do speed for every day of the week for 35 minutes.
Going back to Graham, I remember sitting we all sat in the hotel lobby having a drink after a gig in Camden. We was not was, yeah. 80s Giants fair. And Graham was saying to me, he says, Daz, he says, because he said his eyesight was bad that particular night, and he says, Daz, can you look through my address book? He says, I'm looking for somebody's number. I went through it, and the address book, it was like a who's who of rock and roll. There was like Schenker in there, and Malmsteen, and Steve Vai. It was incredible. Different world. So
Graham told us a great story about Cozzy Powell. Obviously, they were really, really close mates, and when it come to touring, Cozzy always put the offer up because he's got his big fast cars with him. Who wants to go with Cozzy? And Graham would always go with Cozzy. The reason being, they'd get to the town and the venue 2 days before the tour bus, spent 2 days getting ratted out their brains on alcohol and sleeping on the beach. So that's why Graham always went with Cozzy, because there was always a quick drink.
Oh, cool.
Great story.
You're quite active in the local scene. Does it get in the way of home life and others?
It's a big balancing act, isn't it? I've actually been divorced and married three times now. I suppose it's a balancing act. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't go out drinking. I don't really go nightclubbing, which some people choose to do. Some people choose to play golf and they hit 40, which I hit next year. So I just prefer to play rock and roll. But it's one big balancing act. So yeah, all juggling. You're constantly juggling all the time, and we've all got day jobs.
Yeah.
I sold my children in Chechnya. that bought my Les Paul, so it worked out fine for me.
It is tough, let's be honest. I mean, to be fair, I mean, you know, but I think all of our partners are quite understanding. I think that's the key thing in this game, because either you accept it or you break up, because if you do this for, you know, if you enjoy doing it, it means everything to you, so you don't really let much things get in the way. You just sort of say, right, where do I sign, and that's the, you know, game over.
That's kind of like the rock and roll life, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a philosophy, and it exists. I mean, rock's not made up. It's real, and it always will be. And I think rock will always, it will warp out of shape and take different forms, but there'll always be rock music without a shadow of a doubt.
Cool.
That's nice. That was
Right, mate. Yeah. I've just read that on the back. It was well written by now.
Do you play like note for note, or do you sometimes improvise and take your own take on the song?